Welcome back to Narrations. Tonight's film is pure holiday magic, a story filled with chaos, laughter, childhood wonder, family warmth, and the unforgettable feeling of rediscovering what truly matters at Christmas. This is Home Alone, 1990, the movie that turned mischief into a masterpiece, turned Christmas into adventure, and proved that even the smallest hero can protect the home and heart that he loves. Snow falls softly over the quiet suburban neighborhood in Illinois, where houses glow with Christmas lights and families prepare for holiday travel. Inside the bustling McCallister home, chaos rules the night. Relatives rush in and out, suitcases pile up the stairs, phones ring non-stop, arguments overlap, and the air is thick with pre-travel stress. Tomorrow, the entire family is flying to Paris for Christmas vacation, and nobody seems calm enough to breathe. In the middle of all the noise is Kevin McCallister, an 8-year-old boy with bright eyes, a curious spirit, and a heart full of imagination. But tonight he feels invisible, pushed aside by cousins who tease him, siblings who scold him, and parents overwhelmed by responsibility. Every time he speaks, someone talks louder. Every time he asks for help, he's brushed away. Anger builds beneath silence. At dinner, Kevin gets into a fight with his older brother Buzz, who humiliates him in front of everyone. The family explodes into shouting, and Kevin is blamed for the chaos. His mother, Kate, frustrated and exhausted, sends him to sleep in the attic as punishment. Kevin storms upstairs, hurt and furious, wishing loudly that he didn't have a family at all. "I wish they would all just disappear." He slams the door, curling under the blankets, tears mixing with anger until sleep finally pulls him under. Outside, a winter storm swirls through the night. Lightning flashes. Power lines spark. And the house goes dark. Morning arrives quietly, too quietly. No alarms ring. No footsteps echo. The power outage has reset every clock. When the family wakes, they panic, racing wildly through the house. Passports fly, coats are thrown on, taxis honk in the driveway, and nobody stops long enough to notice what's missing. In the rush to reach the airport, they miscount the children amid neighbors and noise, and the McCallisters disappear into the snow-covered street, boarding a plane believing everyone is there. The house grows still again. Silent. Empty. Upstairs, Kevin wakes slowly. The sunlight glows across the attic ceiling, and he listens, listening for footsteps, voices, the usual roar of morning chaos. Nothing. He runs downstairs, calling for his mother, his father, Buzz, anyone, but the house echoes with silence. He checks every room, every corner, each one perfectly still. The impossible realization blooms: he is alone. Completely alone. At first, he whispers it. Then he says it louder. Then he screams it with joy. "I made my family disappear!" Fear turns instantly into freedom. Kevin races through the house laughing, jumping on the bed, eating ice cream straight from the bucket, watching grown-up movies he was never allowed to see, sliding down the stairs on a sled, and living every kid's dream with reckless delight. For the first time, he feels powerful, fearless, in charge of his own world. Meanwhile, somewhere high above the Atlantic, Kate McCallister sits suddenly aware that something feels wrong, terribly wrong. Her breath catches, her eyes widen, and she whispers the word that will haunt her until she returns home. "Kevin!" Back in the neighborhood, two burglars prowl the streets in a rusty van, Harry and Marv, calling themselves the Wet Bandits, specializing in robbing homes while families are away on holiday. Harry has been disguised as a police officer, studying houses to learn who is leaving town. And the McCallister house, big, beautiful, filled with expensive belongings, is the jackpot. But Kevin is no ordinary 8-year-old. When he sees shadows outside and hears voices whisper near the doors, fear grips him, the first cold reminder that being alone has risks. He turns on every light in the house, creates fake silhouettes with cardboard cutouts and mannequins, and plays loud music to make the house look full of people. Harry and Marv watch from outside, stunned and confused, believing a huge party is happening inside. For now, Kevin has protected himself with creativity and courage he didn't know he had. Later that night, He walks to the grocery store, buying food with carefully counted coins, proudly insisting he can manage everything on his own. He walks home beneath Christmas lights glowing against falling snow, feeling older, stronger, braver than he ever expected. But even heroes feel lonely. Walking past families laughing together, Kevin feels a quiet ache, a small, heavy longing for the people he said he didn't need. He returns to the house, sits softly by the Christmas tree, and looks at a family picture, whispering to the silence drifting around him. "I'm sorry." He doesn't realize it yet, but his story, and his courage, are only just beginning. Because tonight, Harry and Marv will return. This time they'll learn the house is not empty. And Kevin McCallister will do whatever it takes to protect his home, with traps, wit, and the fierce determination of a kid who now understands what family truly means. Kevin wakes the next morning with a different kind of energy, the excitement of independence mixed with a flicker of responsibility. He cleans the house carefully, proud of himself for doing things no one ever thought he could. He shovels the walkway, decorates the tree, and sets up his own Christmas celebration. The house feels warm again, not because his family is there, but because Kevin is discovering what it means to care for something bigger than himself. Outside, Harry and Marv sit in their van watching the McCallister home, frustrated and suspicious. They watched every house on the street empty out, except this one. Harry narrows his eyes, determined to prove the house is empty. They plan a break-in for that night. Kevin overhears them through the window, hears the words clearly. "We'll be back at 9 o'clock tonight." Fear tightens in his chest, but this time he doesn't run or hide. He squares his shoulders and whispers to himself. "This is my house. I have to defend it." He starts preparing, sketching plans, gathering tools, building traps with the creativity only a brilliant, underestimated 8-year-old could invent. He lines steps with ice, strings paint cans across the stairwell, heats doorknobs red hot, rigs glue and tar and feathers, ornaments and irons and blowtorches, transforming the house into an explosive maze of chaos designed for one purpose: protect home. Before the battle begins, Kevin bundles up and walks through the falling snow to the neighborhood church, drawn by the distant sound of a choir singing. Inside, warm light glows through stained glass windows, and voices rise in a soft, angelic hymn. He sits alone in a back pew, small and quiet, the fight inside him melting into loneliness again. An older man sits a few rows away, the man the neighborhood kids whisper about, the man Kevin once feared. Old Man Marley, rumored to be dangerous, rumored to be someone to avoid. But as he turns and speaks gently to Kevin, the truth becomes clear: he is not a monster, not a legend. He is a grandfather who hasn't spoken to his son in years because of a painful argument neither of them knew how to fix. He comes to this church every Christmas Eve to watch his granddaughter sing, because watching from a distance is the closest he has been allowed to get. Kevin listens, and something shifts inside him. He tells Marley he should call his son, that it's better to try than to regret never trying. Marley's eyes soften, filled with the kind of heartbreak Kevin understands now more than ever. And when Kevin leaves the church, snow sparkling beneath streetlights, he knows something with absolute certainty. He doesn't want to live without his family. He wants them back. He wants forgiveness. He wants to say he didn't mean it. He races home, ready for the battle ahead, ready to protect the place that holds everything he now understands matters. The clock strikes 9. Harry and Marv approach confidently, tools in hand, smirking at what they assume will be an easy job. They break through the basement door and instantly regret everything. Marv steps barefoot onto shattered glass ornaments, screaming in pain. Harry grabs a glowing doorknob and burns his hand violently. Paint cans swing down the staircase, slamming into them one after another. An iron drops directly onto Marv's face. A blowtorch blasts across Harry's scalp. Feathers explode into the air, sticking to glue. Tar sucks off shoes. Stairs turn into a sheet of ice. Each trap is chaos, pain, humiliation, and strangely brilliant comedy. The house erupts into a war of screams and crashes as Kevin outsmarts them again and again, racing through hallways, sliding through rooms, laughing breathlessly as fear transforms into victory. Harry and Marv pursue him relentlessly, determined to catch the kid who made fools of them. Kevin escapes out a back window and runs to his neighbor's house, only to find the wet bandits already flooded it, water pouring across floors. Harry and Marv capture him there, bruised and furious, ready to hurt him in revenge. But just as they lift him up and threaten him, a shadow appears in the doorway. Old Man Marley, shovel raised high. He strikes both burglars with a single powerful swing, knocking them out cold. Kevin looks up through tears of relief, and Marley gives him a small, warm smile. He carries Kevin safely home, and for the first time, Kevin feels protected by someone who cares. Police arrive moments later, arresting Harry and Marv as they shout threats and insults, slipping across icy steps and falling into squad cars. Kevin watches them disappear down the snowy street, exhausted but triumphant, feeling taller than he ever has. That night, Kevin decorates the Christmas tree alone, hangs stockings, and places cookies beside the fireplace, believing with all his heart that his family will return. He goes to sleep curled under the glow of twinkling lights, hope resting quietly in his chest. The next morning, snow falls silently outside. Kevin wakes and rushes into the living room. The house is still empty. His smile fades just slightly, but he keeps waiting, watching the door, refusing to give up. And then, a voice. "Kevin?" He turns, breath caught in his throat. His mother stands in the doorway, eyes filled with tears, face full of apology and relief. She drops her bags and runs to him, wrapping him in a fierce, trembling embrace. He sinks into her arms, holding on tightly, whispering through tears, "I'm sorry." "So am I," she says, crying into his hair. One by one, the family bursts through the front door, arriving moments later after catching another flight. Laughter fills the house, voices overlap again, but this time the sound is warm, soft, welcome. Even Buzz stands in stunned silence, speechless as he looks at his little brother, the boy who protected everything they love. Outside, Kevin sees Old Man Marley reunite with his son in the snow, hugging tightly, both crying openly. Kevin smiles, knowing he helped change something important. Inside, the McCallister home glows with lights, warmth, joy, and the magic of a Christmas morning that no one will ever forget. Kevin quietly walks upstairs, looks out the window at the snow-covered neighborhood, and whispers to himself, "This is my house." Because Home Alone isn't just about traps, or burglars, or chaos. It's about love returning. It's about forgiveness. It's about realizing how much family means, especially when you almost lose them. And Christmas, after all, is nothing without the people we hold close. If you enjoyed this narration, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Narrations, where nostalgic classics are relived with heart, warmth, and cinematic storytelling.